Hello, if you're joining, thank you so much. I've got a great turnout so far. So this is our session being run by Dean Gillespie, who happens to be a trustee of FEI Equality International. He's been such a great source of support to us all recently. He's also a marketing whiz and works at International Justice Mission and is going to speak to us today about the fundamentals of marketing that cuts through. Importantly, you can change your captions if needed. So you can navigate down to the bottom bar here and you can hit translation on your captions and you should be able to translate them into your respective languages. We are recording this session, so if you are engaging in the Q&A, which is going to be for the final 10 to 15 minutes, please, if you would prefer for your name not to be visible, do so as an anonymous contributor. Please make a note of our community guidelines, which we are going to paste into the chat box now, which is just about making sure that everybody has a positive experience and that if you are engaging, that you are doing so in a respectful way. Also, Dean would like me to just do a reminder to everybody that there might be, because of the subject matter, we're just going to put a bit of a trigger warning out there because Dean will be talking about slavery in all of its many forms. So please be mindful of protecting yourselves and keeping yourselves well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Dean.
Thank you for that. Friends, it is such a privilege and an honor to be here at the FEI Equality Forum. Whoop whoop. I hope we're all excited. We've had a great day so far. But today, wherever we are coming from or joining from across the world, let's be honest, we are united together by a bold and a powerful vision. And that is to see a world free of barriers, where people with facial differences are thriving and proud to be themselves. So I just wanted to begin my presentation today by honoring each and every single one of you, the inspiring leaders, the incredible advocates, and the wonderful organizations who are here today for really the incredible work that you do as part of the FEI Equality movement. Thank you so much for your courage, your creativity and your persistence that you bring to your jobs and as part of this movement every single day. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. As Philadelphia said, I have the honor and the privilege of being a trustee at FEI Equality International. And also, as part of my day job, I work at International Justice Mission, where I head up and lead fundraising development and growth marketing. International Justice Mission, also known as IJM, is the world's largest anti-slavery organization. Philip did say at the beginning of this presentation, this meeting, just a heads up again that the topics that I will be discussing obviously involve some heavy subjects. So please do look after yourself if that means just stepping away, taking a break, or obviously seeking to speak to somebody afterwards. But today, hopefully, over the next hour or so, I really want to inspire and encourage each of you, not only from my experiences in terms of life, but also my professional experiences. Because, friends, I truly believe that when people like you and I can utilize marketing effectively to turn awareness into action, we can build powerful movements that transform and change the world. So who's up for that? I hope everybody is. Hope you're all excited. So let me begin by telling you a story of hope, a story of courage, and a story of extraordinary action. Friends, it's June the 6th, 1944. The world is perched on a precipice. Fascism, racism, and discrimination are on the rise. The evils of injustice, intolerance, and violence are spreading across Europe. It seems like the darkness is overwhelming. But in that darkness, something arises, and it's called determination. Ordinary people during World War II step forward. They unite together to build a powerful movement for freedom and peace that changes history. In the midst of this very vast story, there are two individuals. Sydney on the left, who is a brave soldier who finds himself on the Normandy beaches, witnessing unspeakable horrors, yet never wavers in his determination to fight and end fascism and protect freedom. And there on the right, you also have a remarkable woman called Irene, a brilliant young woman who works at Bletchley Park Bletchley Park in the United Kingdom, which was known as the birthplace of modern computing. And it's thanks to Irene and her colleagues at Bletchley Park in the United Kingdom who operated Colossus, which you can see on your screens, which is the world's first ever digital computer, that Nazi codes were actually broken during World War II. And millions of people's lives were saved, including Sydney's life. I'm proud to say that these were my grandparents. So why today, friends, am I talking about my grandparents? Because, friends, I think it shows something vital to us as part of the face equality movement. That social movements, whether we are fighting against fascism, whether we are seeking to end slavery, or we are seeking to promote face equality worldwide, they aren't simply built by awareness or technology alone. Movements like ours are powered by people. They're built like people like you and I who choose to act. And marketing and campaigns and technologies are tools. But the real fire is powerful social change by people. And that is our friends, our responsibility and our job to spark that change. So today, I just really want to show you through a case study of the work that my colleagues and I do at International Justice Mission, how we can turn awareness into action and together build a more powerful movement for face equality. At International Justice Mission, my personal mission statement is this. It's to use marketing, whether that's digital, creative, or relational marketing, to mobilize a powerful global movement of people to act. And that is to stop slavery and violence in our lifetime. And so for us as part of the face equality movement, it's the same principle, isn't it? How can we use our campaigns, our stories, our networks to spark a movement that drives greater inclusivity, acceptance, and action? My first challenge to us today, which you might want to write into the chat, and as I say, there will be a time for questions at the end. Just to say throughout this, I'm also, if we don't get through to the questions, I am also available on LinkedIn. There's going to be hopefully plenty of time for questions, but please do be putting your questions in the chat. But I want to ask you this, it's a little challenge. Before we even think about scaling your marketing or our marketing as part of the movement for face equality, what actually is your personal mission statement? What movement are you trying to build for your organization today? And actually, how will it create a world where every face is seen, valued, and celebrated? So you might want to write that down by yourselves. You might want to share that in a chat if you're feeling inspired, or you might have some questions about that. So let's seek to put it in the chat if we can, because that will create even more engagement as we come to the Q&A session at the end. Just as we do in the face equality movement, friends, my colleagues and I at International Justice Mission face an enormous challenge, one that demands more than just simply awareness. It calls for bold collective action. Today, there are 50 million people, can you believe it? 15 million people living in slavery. And shockingly and horrifically, 1 in 4 of those people are a child. But whilst this is the reality, there is hope. Together, with local authorities and police and governments. We at IJM have actually helped over 490,000 children, women, and men from freedom from oppression to freedom from oppression. And that's a really remarkable statistic, isn't it? And we've even seen slavery decrease by up to 86% in the places that we've worked. And this is really a clear example of where we've seen awareness turn into action and action grow into a powerful movement that can create systemic change. So the question for us today is, how do we transform our marketing at IJM to fuel that social movement? But also, what lessons can we learn from it to apply to our movement for face equality? And so I just wanted to share with you, and I'll be running through this throughout the presentations, really the framework by which we did that. And there's 3 areas. Number 1 is time to get real. It's important to understand where you and your organization is right now with your marketing performance and output. Secondly, it's time to get direct. It's vital that we continue to build and create bold mobilization campaigns that mobilize thousands, maybe even millions of people from awareness to action. And thirdly, it's time to get relational. It's important to understand how you can nurture lasting, long-term relationships through your marketing that sustains the movement over time. And throughout this session today, I'm actually going to be sharing with you Dean's top 10 tips to basically scale your marketing, which I truly hope will be useful for you in your daily work. And also as we seek to really strengthen and grow our inspiring movement for face equality. So number 1, it's time to get real. First, getting real. Building a movement, friends, starts with brutal honesty. Today, maybe you want to ask yourself, where does your organization, from a marketing perspective, stand currently? What marketing efforts are delivering results, and where could you improve them? At IJM UK, we basically were really brutally honest. We ran a full marketing and fundraising audit, examining donations, social media, email metrics, supporter feedback, and even our tech capacity. And the truth, friends, is, if I'm going to be really honest, as you can see from this slide, that we weren't ready to scale our marketing. Our systems couldn't handle growth. We had no clear mobilization strategy, and digital engagement was stalling. So I hope that is encouragement that whatever situation that you're in right now with your organization, there is hope, and there is also things that you can do. So, Dean's top tip number 1, audit before you act. Don't try to scale your marketing before you know exactly what's holding you back. And when we're thinking, obviously, for our movement today, for specific face equality organizations, maybe you can think about how you might want to undertake an audit to identify which marketing and fundraising approaches are effective and what are the gaps. Or maybe you want to even think about whether you're reaching new supporters effectively and efficiently, and whether your messaging is resonating. Because, friends, a thorough marketing audit is your foundation for growth, including how we build this movement for face equality. And in fact, I actually commend to you the wonderful and inspiring team at Face Equality International, who've actually undertaken a marketing fundraising audit themselves recently and continue with that. So you might want to speak to your colleagues there. Again, I'm also on LinkedIn after this session too. So with clarity, we at IJM set about a new vision really for our marketing and built an ambitious marketing roadmap which included things like, KPIs linked to growth over the coming years. We talked about investment in tech and people. We detailed and outlined a mobilization strategy which would significantly support us to acquire and retain donors. And also we looked at, timelines to how to track progress and success. And from this roadmap, and it may not be true in every single place, but we identified 3 particular areas. Number 1, we needed to implement a marketing orchestration or marketing automation platform, in this case, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, to deepen supporter engagement. We needed to also, secondly, integrate a new optimized donation platform for improved donor conversion. And we also needed to launch an ambitious mobilization strategy, which would grow our supporter base like never before, including growing our regular givers, or what we call at IJM our freedom partners. So if I refer to freedom partners throughout this campaign, just remember that we're talking about IJM's regular givers. So Dean's top tip number 2. Build a marketing roadmap. Invest in scalable strategy and infrastructure to achieve sustainable marketing goals. This might not be rocket science, and let's be honest, it isn't. But without a clear vision of where you're heading, how will you actually know that your work for face equality is actually growing effectively and efficiently? Maybe you want to ask yourself today, as we're joined together, are you actually investing in a strategy and the right infrastructure that can scale your organization significantly? So at this point, I just wanted to really take a time of just reflection and take a little time for pause and really ask you this question. And as I said, feel free to put these things in the chat. If you've got questions about anything I've said so far, please do put in them, because we want to get high engagement and we want this to be practical and useful for each one of you. So let me ask you this question. It's time to get real. What's one key area your organization must strengthen or address first to grow your organization for face equality? Maybe you want to put that in the chat. Maybe you want to write it down yourself. But if you can, maybe drop your thoughts into the chat or any questions that we have, because it's important that we share together and that we can come back to those questions maybe a little bit later in terms of the Q&A. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of space for people to write some things now. So whilst you're doing that, let me move on. Secondly, it's important, friends, to get direct. At IJM, we launched really bold mobilization campaigns that didn't just raise awareness, friends, they mobilized thousands, even millions of people to take action. And today, I hope that this will be an encouragement to you, because maybe you want to consider how can your organization get even more direct with supporters to advance the cause of face equality. So first, we at IJM launched what are known as hand raiser campaigns as part of our digital mobilization strategy. And these hand raiser campaigns were originally kind of designed as a 12-week Facebook paid advertising campaign with different variants, which highlighted different parts of our work. And through paid advertising, as you can see on our screen, we kind of really drove people, supporters, from social ads to highly optimized hand raiser landing pages where they signed petitions to stop slavery, trafficking, and violence. And immediately after signing up, we invited them to become regular givers through personalized asks. And then, as you can see at the end of the screen, we put them on an ongoing welcome series to try to increase donations and raise awareness of our work. And the impact of that, friends, was that in just 3 months alone, we grew our full email list by 71%, which kind of brought in, obviously, because you imagine a new surge of new regular givers and also new donors who joined the movement for freedom. And it's important to state that this growth was mainly directed and driven by paid advertising. But as I'm sure many of you are aware in terms of marketing at the moment, there are a lot of changes that are happening with Meta. So I just also wanted to share with you another example of how we've mobilized supporters for action in a different way, which hasn't utilized paid advertising too. So last month, we launched a new mobilisation campaign which urged the public to write to their members of parliament in the UK Parliament, which was to help stop the terrible abuse that is of live-streamed abuse of children, which is a horrific crime, often driven by actually UK sexual offenders. And we were very fortunate and blessed to receive headline news on ITV News. But we didn't just stop there. We really leveraged that key media moment to launch a campaign which has since sparked a really an urgent and a compassionate response from the public. And so far, thousands of emails have been sent to UK members of Parliament. In fact, nearly, I think, all UK members of Parliament have already been contacted, really calling for technology that can detect and prevent live-streamed child abuse. And really the result is that not only has the appeal mobilised advocacy, not only has it raised questions in Parliament, not only has it sparked debate with MPs, but also we, as you can see at the end there, we actually asked for donations. And that brought in 42% more donors and raised 109% more donations in terms of value than we did with our previous appeal last year, because we not only saw it as an opportunity to raise awareness, but also to drive action. And so, subject number 3. You might want to think about what could this mean for the Face Equality movement in your organisation? The importance of testing bold mobilisation campaigns. That petitions and hand raisers aren't just tools, they're really sparks. And each one of these can convert awareness into immediate, tangible action that fuels your social movement. Additionally, at IGEM UK, as we talked about previously, we mobilise more supporters by investing in new digital technology to improve the overall supporter experience, including a new website donation platform, which is called Fundraise Up. And this platform called Fundraise Up really allowed us to create a smooth, unified donation journey for new supporters with AI-powered prompts encouraging regular giving throughout the checkout process. And it also allowed us to introduce new payment methods like Apple Pay and Google Pay, really the first time that we've had that in our history. And again, friends, the results were staggering. Obviously, just within the first month, it must be said, alongside our own marketing efforts, we not only saw one-off donations rise by 93%, we also saw new regular gifts increase by 203% compared to the same time the previous year. In fact, even more staggering, across our whole financial year, online regular givers, or freedom partners as we call them at IGM, grew by 41%, with our website recruiting more freedom partners than all the other marketing channels combined. And also by offering easier payment options like Apple Pay and Google Pay, we unlocked fresh income streams from new supporters, which significantly scaled our fundraising campaigns, which, as you can imagine, was a huge, massive win. Themes top tip number 4. Now, again, this isn't rocket science, but sometimes it's important just to say it as it is. Always spade a spade. You might want to be thinking about how this can apply to you and your organisation as part of the Face Equality movement. But it is this simple truth. Make donating simple. Because, friends, the easier it is to donate, the faster your movement can grow. And of course, for us as part of the Face Equality movement, this could mean more people donating, which can ultimately fuel growth faster than we could have done before. So at IGM, we have seen importance of how match giving appeals can be incredibly powerful because they create urgency. And people, we've seen through our research and through our data, are more motivated to give when they know that their gift will be doubled, could be tripled, could be quadrupled, could be matched, and their impact will be matched or go twice as far. And in fact, last year, as part of IJM, one of our match giving appeals delivered not only a 23% increase in more new regular givers, we actually saw a 140% increase in the value of monthly giving compared to the previous years when we did our campaign. And this year at IGM, we've even gone even bigger. We've actually just ended our $5 million giving campaign. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, friends. Obviously, not every organization can secure a match of $5 million from a single donor. But just imagine what doubling or matching could mean for our movement as Face Equality. What if every pound, every dollar, whatever currency you're utilizing, and that was instantly doubled or matched? What if we could find new opportunities to say to our supporters, your gift would go twice as far in helping people with facial differences to be seen, celebrated, and free from prejudice? And I know that Face Equality International has been part of the Big Give during Christmas, which is a big match giving appeal. So you might want to speak to them staff, or there's probably other organizations who are doing those things as well. So top tip number 5 is to add urgency. And this can be seen in the terms of the match giving appeals because they create urgency, which turns awareness, friends, into action and can also boost your donor acquisition at scale. At the heart of it, fundamentally, it gives your supporters a compelling reason to act or donate now rather than later. Moreover, we've touched a little bit about this previously, but at IJM, we have really grown our marketing and fundraising significantly through leveraging media moments and new creative partnerships, where we've worked with survivors who have shared their stories and have also shaped our campaigns, both nationally and internationally. And beyond the ITV News piece, which I shared previously, and just so anybody doesn't know, the ITV News is a big UK media agency. It's on the TV as well. We at IJM have really harnessed media moments to grow our movement. And I know there's many people online here who have also been in contact with media and are doing that really substantively. So we've recently been featured in The Economist. And we've actually also just recently collaborated with the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, on 2 documentaries, which are called Hunting the Catfish Crime Gang and Hunting the Online Sex Predators, which has reached millions of people, not only in the UK, but globally, and inspired action. And in fact, if you do have access to BBC iPlayer, you can access it right now. Likewise, our partnership with the global tech firm Meta on a VR, a virtual reality campaign, which highlighted the story of an online sexual, a survivor of online child sexual abuse, and the pressing need to really stop OSEC, the online sexual abuse of children, reached 27 million views. And just like our successful media partners, which are outlined, we at IGM have really utilized these significant media moments and creative partnerships to launch fundraising appeals and new lead generation campaigns, not only to grow our supporter base, but also to grow the number of new regular givers, ensuring that always awareness is always turned into action. And so we might want to think about this from the point of the Face Equality movement. You know, the same principle applies. when, and I know, as I say, many of us do this already, but how could we leverage it even more? When people with facial differences are sharing their own stories, and when we contribute that and combine that with our creative partnerships and timely media moments, the issue can break into new audiences. It can shift perceptions, and it can inspire thousands, even not even millions, to act. And it isn't just about being seen in the media. It's about how you transform and utilize those moments to fuel real change for your social movement. Additionally, at IJM UK and IJM, we've partnered with music artists, which have ranged from bigger artists, I don't know if you know, but One Republic, to smaller musicians, which have combined really large-scale events, digital reach, as well as also tailored online journeys to improve donor conversion. And in fact, our most recent music tour generated the highest number of freedom partners or regular givers in our history. So you might want to think through is Dean's top tip number 6. How can you use creative partnerships and incredible media moments to grow reach, but also, most fundamentally, to build in strong calls to action to grow your social movement? So there's a lot of things that I've covered there. So I just want to take this time just to pause a little bit, and remember to put any feedback, any comments that you've got in the chat. We're going to have a Q&A session in a bit. But I just wanted to sort of pause and reflect on this question, which I hope might be useful and helpful for your organization. That question is, in terms of building your movement for face equality, it's time to get direct. What new creative partnerships or media could help grow your movement for change? Or more specifically, you might want to think about, who could you partner with, whether that's media, musicians, creators, influencers, to showcase not only stories of people with facial differences, but also to grow this important movement. So I'll just give you a little bit of time. Feel free again to put it in the chat. Again, I'll be on LinkedIn after this if anyone wants to speak to me. But let's continue to keep the engagement live. There's lots of things that we've covered there. So there should be a lot to talk about, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping. Wonderful. We've got some people in the chat. Keep it coming. Again, we're going to have a Q&A at the end. Let me move on now. But, friends, I will be wrong to say that really scaling your marketing is just about acquiring or mobilizing new people. It's also about keeping them. After all, what good is it if you bring in new supporters and new donors if they don't stay? It doesn't really sound like effective marketing to me. And so that's why at IJM, we invested in, as I said at the beginning, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, which is a marketing automation platform to build even greater personalized emails and SMS mobile journeys at scale to better engage with our supporters. And we've really utilized this dynamic marketing automation platform to scale our marketing, such as through automated onboarding supported journeys, for A/B split testing, and for behavioral-based segmentation. And this has really supported and boosted support engagement, not only, friends, in terms of like open rates and click-through rates, but also in terms of our recurring gift retention rate, which of course is so key and important because we want to grow the movement long term. So we might want to think about, for us as part of the face equality movement, how the same principle can apply. How can you today, as part of your organization, create even more tailored experiences that not only keeps supporters connected, informed, and inspired, but also allows them to continue to advocate for this wonderful movement that we're all part of? Retention is just as important as acquisition, and it's this type of marketing that really sustains a movement long-term for social change. So, Dean's top tip number 7. personalize at scale. Invest in digital automation to create one-to-one supported journeys at scale. And this approach strengthens both not only donor acquisition, but also retention, which will enable us and drive and scale our marketing and fundraising effectively and significantly. And we've also seen that International Justice Mission, what's worked in terms of scaling our marketing, has been really offering supporters regular digital or online webinars and live events. And these have often included survivor stories, expert insights, and live Q&A sessions, which have all been designed to deepen engagement and improve donor retention. And to be honest with you, these events are often emotionally charged or engaging because they often feature first-hand accounts from survivors across the world of slavery and violence. But they also often include special guests. We've had recently contestants, I don't know if you watch this if you're in the UK or maybe internationally, but from the Great British Bake Off, don't know if anyone's seen that, or from the Great British Sewing Bee, who have very kindly supported our mission. And these digital online experiences have really helped donors feel truly connected and valued to our cause, which has obviously significantly supported retention at International Justice Mission. And so my top tip number 8 is how can you bring people together online? That live digital events and webinars can deepen connection and build belonging for your social movement. And let's think about this for the face equality movement. The same principle applies, isn't it? Take, for example, where we are today. This brilliantly run Face Equality International Forum, which, this online experience, friends, isn't just seeking to inform members or bring people together. It's seeking to build lasting bonds, to inspire action and strengthen the movement for change. So we're really thankful to everybody who involved who's put on this session and this forum. Equally, to scale our marketing and to get relational with our supporters, we've also at IJM launched new marketing products which have been tailored to supporters' interests. And I can't understate the importance of this enough. For example, we recently at IJM launched a partnership with a UK fashion brand, which has used online T-shirt design competitions and giveaways to attract audiences which are passionate particularly to that sort of interest around ethical clothing, which has actually led to thousands of new sign-ups and a surge in regular givers. And really, I just want to state this, that getting relational means that understanding really what your audience's needs and interests are from a marketing point of view, not just targeting them generically or broadly. Tip number 9 is to build or to design marketing products that meet supporters' needs and nurture relationships, not only to grow and to build in and to get more donations, but also most fundamentally to build and to grow our movement. So I just wanted to take the time again to pause, just to reflect. Again, there's a lot covered that I've said there in a small amount of time. But nonetheless, wanted to really ask a question to you. It's time to get relational. What marketing products or experiences could help you build supporter relationships and grow your movement for face equality? So I'll say that question again. What marketing products or experiences could help you build supporter relationships and grow your movement for face equality? So remember to put those in the chat. Any sort of comments, any feedback that you might have, any questions, because we're going to come into a time of Q&A very shortly. But I really would encourage you to put stuff in the chat, because I'm sure there's a lot to discuss. and really just want to support you and your organizations. So just leave a little bit of time. So, in conclusion, to scale your marketing and fuel your social movement, it's important to, number one, get real. To understand where your organization currently stands in terms of your marketing performance and output. Secondly, it's important to get direct, to design and to build incredibly powerful mobilization campaigns and build creative partnerships that attract new supporters, transforming awareness into action. And thirdly, it's important to get relational, to ensure you build lasting relationships using your marketing and your technology to keep supporters engaged in the long term. Because, friends, when we scale marketing effectively, we don't just raise awareness or money, we ignite movements. So here's Dean's, here's my final top tip. As you can see on your screen, that we must always remember that our marketing is always about people. Like my grandparents' generation, we are called right now to act with courage. Movements, whether to defeat fascism, to end slavery, or to build a world free of facial disadvantage and discrimination, way friends let move action. Let's craft even bolder campaigns, mobilize social transformation. Let's even better, long-lasting relationships and creative partnerships. Let's continue to fuel a movement where every person with a facial difference is seen, respected, and free to thrive. The time is now. The movement is right here, right now. And together, we can create a world free of barriers, where people with facial differences are thriving and proud to be themselves. Thank you very much. And I think we're going to have a little time of questions now.
Thank you so much, Dean. What a joy that was to listen to, and a joy to hear all about your family as well. You kept all of this quiet. Do we have any questions either in the Q&A or in the chat? There's been some great dialogue throughout, lots of great ideas being shared, some suggestions to reach out to the likes of Netflix and streaming platforms, contacting directors, writers, producers, businesses. Lots of thanks and praise in the chat from people, which is great. No questions, but this has been very inspiring. There is so much to do. Yeah, there is no doubt about that.
Great. That's wonderful. As I said, if there is anything that anyone wants to speak about later, as I say, you can find me on LinkedIn. So I'm really, really happy. We all believe in this incredible movement. So please do feel free to reach out and contact.
Any questions from anybody? Any questions from any of the team that might be tuning in? Just keeping an eye. Some great comments in here. Oh, one in the Q&A. So how might you deal with negative media narratives around marginalized people you are working with and for?
Sure, absolutely. Very good question. Thank you, Rebecca, for that. I think number one is so important to how you treat people who are marginalized. So are you putting in place effective systems and procedures and code of conduct that affect how you deal with them? So first, it's important how you deal with people. So when we're dealing with survivors, it's very important to state that people are people and they have their own lived experience. And it's so important that we don't just come alongside people and assume things, but it's actually their stories that they're telling. So one of the things is that in order to deal with negative media narratives, you need to make sure that it actually is what the survivors are actually would say themselves. That's number one. There have been times when that can be used and misused. So as an organization, our thing is always, if you were in a room or you wanted to hear your own story being told, would that seem like it was an appropriate in terms of how your story was being dealt with? So I think it's number one, important to understand how you're dealing with survivors or people who are maybe excluded generally, and with compassion, with love, with kindness. But I also think, and I think I would be also quite bold in this, is that you can't always help how the media and media narratives are supported or launched, but it's important for us to be together as a unity, as a community, as a movement, and try to be as bold as possible with authentic lived experience as we can. And so therefore, if we want to counter those narratives, it's important to find allies within the media space who can obviously understand that lived experience is important, that people are not exposed or ultimately are pulled down because of media stories. But also, I think we need to be bold to make sure there's a support network and a community. So we have the Survivor Leaders Forum, where survivors ultimately work together so they can be the people who champion their voice. So we actually have this forum, which is not led by our organisation, but by survivors themselves. So that is a unique organisation that is able to say, this is what our voice is. This isn't just an organisation. This is our lived experience. So number one, being real with survivors or people who feel excluded. I think number two, trying to find allies in the media. And then thirdly, being bold enough to actually instill organisations or places where survivor voices are heard, not just your organisations. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for that, Dean. There's again lots of praise in the chat box. Inspiring presentation. There was someone that had to jump off early, but said that it was very eye-opening, and they'd love to pick up again afterwards. Any final questions for Dean? Avril, you've got your hand raised. Do you want to, we can bring you in, Avril, to share something. Let me just have a go. Allowed to talk.
Probably not see me, which is probably a good thing. Can you hear me okay?
Keep speaking, we'll have a chat. It's a little bit patchy.
Okay. It's regarding reaching out to children via supermarkets. Is there anything you can create brand-wise for FEI to appeal to young children when they're shopping with parents?
I semi-heard that it was something to do with young children and shopping, if that's correct. Sorry, Avril, it's very patchy again.
I think is it about again, if you can't hear me, please do add me on LinkedIn and we can definitely have a chat about that as well. I have to admit, I didn't quite get that question, so I want to make sure that I get it completely right and I'm not just answering my own question. So Avril, feel free, my friend, to reach out to me on LinkedIn and ask me whatever you like.
It's a great idea. Thank you so much, Dean, for offering yourself up. I think you're going to be bombarded with connections on LinkedIn, which is
We're here
great.
to make the world a better place, so
Which
no
is
worries
how
at all.
we first met and how you suddenly got involved with FEI. So it's been so wonderful. Any final questions for Dean? Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed that, and it is such a joy to always to come together with people that just care about making the world a better place. And there are so many parallels, I guess, in our missions and the way that we go about doing so and the way that we go about serving others. So even though they are two very different and very vital causes that we work towards, they are ultimately very paralleled in the way that we go about it. So thank you so much, Dean, for giving up your time. We know you are incredibly busy, so we so appreciate it. Your time and your wisdom, your energy. So long may it continue. It's just a joy to get to work with you. So thank you everybody also for joining, for your thoughtful comments, for your praise. Yeah, it's been fabulous. Thank you. Our next session is going to be a members only one. So if you're joining that, will allow you a bit of time to go and get a cup of tea, have a comfort break, and we'll end things there. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day.